It's time for us to become Goblin Slayer. Except instead of goblins, you've got those pesky demon gods. Welcome back to Otaku Daikun. Dai here. In the last part of this lore series, we'd successfully defeated Gettiya, resolving the incineration of humanity. Caldea's getting ready to hand itself over to the UN and Mages Association, but before any inspections can take place, new threats emerge that we have to take care of. While we foiled Gettiya's plans, not all of the demon gods were eradicated, and individually, they're creating their own pseudo-singularities. This arc of the story, known as Epic of Remnant, is essentially Caldea put to cleanup duty. While not part of the human order incineration ritual, the singularities these demon gods create are still disruptive to the human order, and just as exciting as what we've already gone through. Today's singularity is the first of this arc, Shinjuku, which I remember loving when I streamed it on the channel. As usual, this will serve to recap the singularity's events, as well as dive deeper into how those elements fit into the Nasuverse at large. The demon god in this episode is Baal, who's reasonably pissed at Ritsuka for thwarting incineration. It's not even the fact that the ritual was stopped in the first place, but rather that it was stopped by a mere human. With resentment for Ritsuka in tow, Baal wandered space and time for 3,000 years, and ultimately took refuge in a distorted timeline, in which Japan's Shinjuku district in 1999 has fallen into desolation, overrun by criminals versed in magecraft. It was an isolated anomaly that normally wouldn't affect the outside world, and because of that, the counterforce was not active there. This made it ideal for Baal to use as a base while experimenting with ways to seek revenge on Ritsuka. Specifically, he experimented with phantom spirits, which are a fun tidbit for the Nasuverse. A phantom spirit is a legendary figure that, unlike heroic spirits, lacks enough fame to be recorded into the Throne of Heroes. These lesser-known legends just aren't famous enough to manifest as servants. Baal, however, found ways of getting around that. He figured out how to combine phantom spirits with each other, creating hybrids that indeed could take servant form. In addition, he could fuse phantom spirits with existing heroic spirits to alter or enhance their abilities. During this process, Baal became allies with the heroic spirit James Moriarty, the criminal mastermind who served as Sherlock Holmes' antagonist. The guy was a math professor who formed an intelligence network that spanned all of Europe, allowing him to plan numerous crimes without being caught. Even after his entire syndicate had been arrested, Moriarty remained at large, confronting Sherlock at Reichenbach Falls, where the two of them fought to the death. Over time, their battle of wit and brawn ends with Moriarty plunging to his demise. As a heroic spirit, his wish is to finally declare victory over Holmes, and finds the opportunity to do just that alongside Baal. Their plan is both elaborate and completely ridiculous. First, they give Moriarty a little upgrade. There's a German opera by the name Der Freischütz, which tells the story of a huntsman named Max, who obtained 7 magic bullets. By selling his soul to a demon, Max could fire the bullets, and they'd always hit their mark. The 7th shot, however, was under the demon's control, cursed to inevitably target someone dear to Max. Turns out this isn't the only time Der Freischütz proves relevant to fate. Arisitsumi from Fate Requiem has an upgraded form of the Gundo shots that calls upon the legend. She can fire 6 shots, each stronger than the last, but the 7th one will kill her. She gets around this by resetting her power, effectively reloading to the first shot. In the case of Shinjuku, well, Moriarty finds the legend useful, and has Baal fuse him with the phantom spirit of Max. This changes him from a caster into an archer, also granting him the power to invoke the legend. He actually wants to fire the 7th shot, knowing it's gonna hit someone he cares about. Nobody would see it coming, and that's what he's aiming for. In a bizarre case of manipulation, Moriarty wants to befriend Ritsuka and use the final shot to kill them. Plus, it won't just be any shot fired from a normal gun. He plans to shoot Ritsuka with a friggin' asteroid. Overkill much? No joke, they build a giant tower in the city, Barrel Tower, to serve as a gun that will shoot Ritsuka with an asteroid and destroy the entire planet. Of this singularity, anyway. The timing is specific as well, because in September of 1999, when this singularity takes place, scientists discovered a potentially threatening asteroid called Bennu. It is estimated to have a 1 in 2,700 chance of colliding with Earth as early as 2175. By making Bennu the final bullet of Der Freischütz, Moriarty can guarantee it hits the Earth on his command. He goes to such lengths because he anticipates Sherlock will show up to interfere. And to throw Holmes off the trail, he intentionally gives his memories to Baal, creating a benevolent personality for himself. He goes out into the city, planning to join and become friends with Ritsuka, while Baal inherits his memories and takes on the role of the evil Moriarty. As this evil Moriarty, Baal amasses an army of servants to fight at his side. One of them is Yan Qing, a fictional character from the Chinese novel Water Margin. According to this tale, there are 108 demon overlords who repent for their wrongdoings and are reborn into the world as heroes who gather and fight for justice. Among these 108 stars of destiny is Yan Qing, a Liangshan outlaw who joins the assembly. He is but a phantom spirit, not famous enough to be a servant, so Baal fuses him with the legend of the doppelganger, an unrelated yet uncannily similar-looking double of another person. Not only does this allow Yan Qing to manifest as a servant, but it also grants him the ability to shapeshift and take the appearance of other people. A similar fusion of phantom spirits creates the servant Hessian Lobo. Hessian refers to the German mercenaries in America, one of which was said to have had their head blown off, haunting Sleepy Hollow as a Doulahan. Effectively, this is the legend of Sleepy Hollow. Lobo, on the other hand, was a wolf known as the King of Kurumpa. Ranchers tried all manner of traps to catch the wolf, but only succeeded after making use of the wolf's mate, a white wolf called Blanca. The rangers caught her in a bear trap and used her to finally lure Lobo into his own trap, after which he proceeded to starve himself to death, refusing to eat food from the horrible humans who harmed his beloved. Lastly, there's the legend of Dr. Jack Griffin, a scientist whose optical research led to him becoming the Invisible Man. These three legends combined into one servant, a ferocious wolf ridden by a headless soldier, cloaking their appearance while ravaging Shinjuku's highways. Lobo's howl serves as a warning to all the Singularity's residents, a sign of impending slaughter. Then there's the Phantom of the Opera. We first introduced him way back in Orléans, so I won't spend too much time on him. Basically, being the titular phantom of the famous novel, the Phantom of the Opera was recognizable enough to become a servant of his own, but the book's protagonist, Christine, was not. To be with his beloved in Shinjuku, the Phantom of the Opera had Baal fuse Christine's phantom spirit with the body of a coloratura, a type of automaton doll made using human brains. Satisfied with this arrangement, the Phantom of the Opera and Christine take claim over Kabukicho, using Christine's singing to command an army of coloraturas. As if that weren't enough, Baal also works with a private militia called the Hornets and captures the servant William Shakespeare, whom I already spoke of in London. Baal has Shakespeare conjure phantoms of his own literature and fuses them with monsters to maintain dominance in the Singularity. Even with this might, however, Baal finds himself rivaling two other territories controlled by the glorious Artoria and Jean Alters. We've encountered them both under different circumstances, but Artoria Alter is a side of the King of Knights who embraces cruelty in the pursuit of her nation, while Jeanne Alter is the aspect of Jeanne d'Arc who resents the world for having her burned at the stake, rebelling against her tragic fate. The two are very much rivals, and decide to stay out of each other's way to avoid conflict. Another Alter to enter the fray is Emiya Alter. He's a rather mysterious fellow, and we can only learn about him from his other incarnations. Obviously, we know that heroic spirit Emiya came about when Shiro made a contract with the Counterforce, becoming a servant who fights to bring about world peace. As noble as this sounds, it means confronting the harsh reality of utilitarian morality, that saving someone often entails killing someone else. Emiya met this struggle by pushing himself through the pain, using tracing magecraft to the point where it strained his magic circuits, turning his skin dark and his hair white. Nameless from Fate Extra is much the same, casting aside his identity while holding true to his conviction. Emiya Alter, on the other hand, is an aspect of Emiya that not only cast away his past, but also any semblance of morality, employing his skills as a mercenary without affiliation. His swords and bow are swapped out for firearms, and his skin is even darker than before. It's assumed that this aspect of Emiya was more dutifully trained in magecraft by his adoptive father Kiritsugu, allowing him to use similar skills, and also causing him to fall in the face of Shiro's lofty ideals. We'll cover him even more in the next part of this series, but for now, he's been hired to kill Baal, and he figures the best way to close in on his target is to join Baal's Phantom Demon Alliance, waiting for a chance to strike. As to what he means when someone hired him to do this job, I've absolutely no idea. Feel free to enlighten me in the comments. The last servant we need to mention for the Singularity is Edmond Dantes. He's perhaps the strangest of them all due to circumstances. He's the protagonist of the Count of Monte Cristo, a seafarer who was caught up in a conspiracy, robbed of the woman he loved, and imprisoned in Chateau d'If on false charges. Seeking vengeance, Edmond escaped the prison tower and acquired the treasure of Monte Cristo, gaining substantial wealth and influence, which he used to lure in and retaliate against his conspirators. His tale is rather lengthy, even involving completely original Nasuverse concepts told in the audio drama King of the Cavern. To get a better idea of his exploits, please check out his individual lore video, linked in the description below. We first met him through events, including one in which Ritsuka's soul was dragged off into a nightmare by Gettiya, where they were forced to overcome a twisted iteration of Dantes' prison tower. Ritsuka ultimately defeated Dantes, freeing him from Gettiya's control. As thanks, Dantes pledged to be Ritsuka's confidant and often appears throughout the story, helping from the shadows. Normally, the servants in a singularity appear as free servants, with no choice over when and where they're summoned. Dantes, however, gets away with it because of a nifty part of his noble phantasm and fair Chateau d'If, which lets him escape confinement from prisons, including space and time. For Shinjuku, he's here to rescue Shakespeare from his captivity, which makes things confusing, since when Sherlock first enters the singularity, he does so disguised as Edmond Dantes. As to how Sherlock is able to just jump between singularities like Dantes can, it's mostly based around the logic that he will be summoned to solve mysteries, and there is no greater mystery than the simultaneous murder of all of mankind. At this point, though, he can't actually fight. Mind you, this entire thing is a setup to trap Ritsuka in an otherwise irrelevant singularity and kill them with the asteroid Bennu. It hinges upon two important factors. One, that Moriarty genuinely form a bond with Ritsuka, and two, he helps Ritsuka in defeating Baal and his army of phantom servants, each of which functioning as one of the 6 bullets leading up to the cursed final shot. Naturally, none of this can come to pass if Ritsuka doesn't visit the singularity in the first place. Thankfully for Baal, Chaldea does manage to detect Shinjuku before the UN or Mages Association can send ambassadors, allowing Da Vinci to write off the operation as just a continuation of fixing Gettiya's mess. Ritsuka's still the best candidate for the job, so we prepare for Ray Shift. The only things to note beforehand are that Dr. Roman is no longer with us, and Mashu can't join us for the journey. Effectively, she's replacing Roman as co-navigator behind the scenes. Ever since Mashu was saved by Foe, she's been unable to channel her magic circuits. Galahad is no longer helping her, and so she cannot change into her servant form. Oh well, at least she's alive, so we're off to Shinjuku. But of course, ray shifts never seem to go as intended, right? Ritsuka appears in the sky, about to fall to their death again. Without Mashu, however, we have no way to avoid it. Thankfully, things are all going according to Moriarty's plan. He sees Ritsuka in danger and comes to the rescue, ensuring us a safe landing. Not knowing his true identity, Moriarty introduces himself simply as the Archer of Shinjuku. He gives us a rundown of the city's corruption, and even protects us against spellcasting thugs, and is that? Well, that's an explosive baby! We have a run-in with the Phantom of the Opera, and flee to the highway, which happens to be Lobo's territory. We're about to get mauled when Artoria Alter, like the edgy badass she is, rushes in on her motorcycle, the Curiace Noir, to rescue us. She takes us to her hideout, the basement of a burger joint, while Moriarty stays behind to keep Logo occupied. Along the way, we encounter an adorable white dog. At first, Salter is dismissive of the pup, but quickly takes a liking to him, calling him Caval II. In life, Artoria's favorite hunting dog was named Caval, and she relied on this dog to hunt the demon boar Toark Torith. In Shinjuku, she entrusts Caval II to protect the hideout in her absence. She informs Ritsuka that it was Edmond Dantes who told her to come help Chaldea out in resolving the singularity. She's confused to find out that we've been working with the Archer of Shinjuku, because the two of them had once fought each other. When we all reunite, however, it becomes clear that, for whatever reason, the Archer of Shinjuku is not the same as the one ruling the Phantom Demon Alliance. Sherlock, still disguised as Edmond Dantes, frequently calls the burger joint's phone to inform Ritsuka of the city's movements. He tells us that Emiya Alter is leading an army of Hornet soldiers to Jalter's territory. We head out, and reluctant to Artoria, wind up saving Jalter and adding her to our ranks. With a decent fighting force at the ready, we set our sights on eliminating the Phantom of the Opera first. Sadly, he's in control of those damn coloraturas, which seem to remain in constant supply no matter how many we defeat. Thus, Moriarty suggests that if we can bring him one of the coloraturas, he can rig it as an explosive that will go off after the doll returns to its home base. We follow the plan and, sure enough, the colораtura explodes within Kabukicho, revealing the Phantom of the Opera's location. The party defeats him and Christine, but it's actually Emiya Alter who finishes them off, in order to prevent them from giving Chaldea any information. We're about to fight Emiya when, out of nowhere, our good old pal Cursed Arm Hassan shows up, allowing Emiya to escape. We nearly fall for it too, but it's quickly revealed that Cursed Arm is actually just Qing in disguise. He abducts Ritsuka and makes a run for it while Jalter and Salter pursue. Despite Artoria Alter even unleashing her noble phantasm Excalibur Morgan, Qing escapes and brings us to Barrel Tower so we can meet with the evil Moriarty. Because they were saved by him, Ritsuka is surprisingly confident in Moriarty's goodness, even as everyone else, including Chaldea, finds him suspicious. Stuck in the tower, we find William Shakespeare also held in captivity, forced to create phantom spirits for Moriarty. That said, it's not long before we're rescued by Sherlock, who finally does away with his Edmond disguise. He makes it clear that both the evil and good Archer we've met thus far are in fact two different aspects of James Moriarty. Still, Sherlock is fooled by the good Moriarty, which is to be expected since this Moriarty is indeed helping to resolve the singularity. Thus, Sherlock joins our ranks and tells everyone about the plan to destroy Earth with an asteroid. To stop it, we've got to first defeat the other Phantom Servants. Our next target is Qing, who, because of his shape-shifting, is difficult to track down. The good Moriarty devises a plan to have Ritsuka, Salter, and Jalter infiltrate one of Qing's lavish parties by dressing up in elegant formal wear. If your Ritsuka happens to be female like mine, she'll be forced to dress as a man while accompanying the ladies. While Ritsuka is embarrassed, it's for the best, as we get the chance to dance with Artoria Alter, making Jean Alter jealous. The fun is broken up when Qing arrives, taking the form of Salter, and actually sees Salter at the party. He orders his Hornet soldiers to attack us. We fight them off, as well as two of Shakespeare's phantom spirits, Romeo and Juliet, ultimately pushing Qing into a corner. In an attempt to escape, he detonates the building they're in, causing everything to collapse. Amidst the rubble, Qing attempts his escape while taking the form of a civilian. Moriarty, however, takes the opportunity to shoot him dead. With another servant down, it's time to head back to base. En route, however, we're once again attacked by Hessian Lobo with no way to escape. To save us, Jalter takes on the beast by herself, but thanks to some last-minute advice, she dives into a manhole just as her noble phantasm ravages the street. Sadly though, from on far, it appears as if Jalter is killed in the struggle. Without our edgy Holy Virgin around, we've all got to figure out a way to trap Lobo. By revisiting Lobo's lore, we recall that Lobo had feelings for a white wolf, and it was that love that became his undoing. That's when Sherlock and Moriarty realize they can use Cavall II as a substitute. Artoria's not down with this, until Foe talks with the dog and claims he wants to help out. Apparently, Chaldea can communicate with animals. Nifty. As it turns out, their plan works. The moment Lobo sees the white pupper, he's all,
"Let me smash,"
and stops dead in his tracks, allowing him to be caught in a leg trap. We fight, only to witness as Hessian, the Headless Horseman, dismounts and risks himself to save Lobo. While noble, it's not enough to save Lobo after he chews through his own leg to escape. Bleeding to death, Lobo spends his last moments in Shinjuku being comforted by the blurry vision of his beloved companion. Having no home to return to, Lobo succumbs to his injuries, and the entire Hessian Lobo servant disappears. Getting desperate, the evil Moriarty dispatches Emiya Alter to guard the Barrel Tower. Along with more Hornets, Emiya waits while equipped to take out Artoria if she comes driving in on her bike. Knowing this, we decide to get the jump on them by reenacting the wild Arash Airlines from Camelot. Ritsuka and Salter soar across the sky and land in range of Emiya's guards, buying enough time for Sherlock to lead a group of hacked coloraturas into the area. Amidst the chaos, Moriarty tosses out a smokescreen, allowing the party to slip past Emiya's guard and enter the tower. Along the way, we fight a phantom servant of Shakespeare's Macbeth, but ultimately reach the top of the tower where the evil Moriarty is. He holds back in a fight, practically allowing us to kill him, but of course this is the plan. As the evil Moriarty dies, he regains his memories as the demon god Baal, in turn giving the good Moriarty back all of his memories. As Baal mocks Ritsuka for their foolishness, Moriarty seizes this chance to finally defeat Sherlock by stabbing his rival through upon his sword. Again, Sherlock didn't see it coming because, by all appearances, Moriarty was in fact a genuine ally, before getting his memories back, that is. Now, he's a damn traitor, taking the chance to absorb Sherlock into himself. Ritsuka's party prepares to fight both Baal and Moriarty at the same time. To assist in this endeavor, Emiya Alter finally makes his move, revealing his mission of killing Baal. The demon god is defeated, leaving Moriarty to fend for himself, but he's completely fine with it. He's already beaten Sherlock, and will assert his victory through Rietzke's death. The servants we fought till now have all conceptually been used as targets for Der Freischutz's first 6 bullets. Now that Moriarty has someone he cares about, the 7th bullet, the asteroid, will collide with Rietzke. Our only hope is to defeat Moriarty before that happens. Sadly, he's quite formidable now that he's absorbed Sherlock. With only 5 minutes to spare, our party splits up, sending Artoria and Emiya Alter to the tower's roof so they can destroy the asteroid before it makes contact. Rietzke, on the other hand, stays behind to continue fighting Moriarty. Thankfully, we're not alone in this battle. For one, the real Edmond Dantes finally gets his chance to free Shakespeare from his chains, even bringing along Hans Christian Andersen to complete a counterattack of sorts. Jalter also arrives, insisting she cleaned herself thoroughly after her dive down the manhole. Even with Jalter's flames back on our side, it is the authors who truly claim the spotlight. They beat Moriarty at his own game, using their noble phantasms to conjure phantoms of all the great detectives inspired by Sherlock's legacy. Most of them don't take a physical form, but the few that do leave hints as to who they are. Specifically, we have Father Brown, the old man in the corner, Augustus SFX von Dusen, Dr. Thorndyke, and Hercule Poirot. I'm not personally familiar with any of these guys, but they were literary detectives who profited from the interest in mystery that Sherlock Holmes stories popularized. While these detectives, mere phantom spirits, could never harm a servant, them being detectives, and Moriarty being a notorious criminal, create the opportunity to invoke a special noble phantasm, critical word. It is the act of finally declaring Moriarty to be the true culprit behind this mess. The detectives empower Rietzke to deliver these words, which manage to severely deplete Moriarty's strength. Back on the roof, Emiya Alter unleashes his noble phantasm, Unlimited Lost Works, to shatter the asteroid into smaller pieces, allowing Artoria Alter to disintegrate them with Excalibur Morgan. Moriarty, defeated not by Sherlock, but rather his legacy and Rietzke's persistence, wonders how it is he lost. Dare I say the answer is elementary? It was the very plan he used to try and kill Rietzke that became his undoing. For it to work, he had to genuinely care about Rietzke. By welcoming a part of himself that's not evil, he could not properly follow through with the act, exposing vulnerabilities that his enemies took advantage of. In light of the whole murder attempt thing, Rietzke still believes in Moriarty and welcomes him to return as a heroic spirit of Chaldea. Personally, I'm not so sure that's a good idea, but it isn't my call. With that, the singularity is resolved. Artoria uses what little time she has left to say goodbye to her happy pupper, giving Jean the chance to force Rietzke into a dance with her. It's cute, since she's willing to admit she didn't want the dance just to one-up her rival, but rather because she wanted to. I'm sure Mashu's sad that she didn't get to dance with Rietzke, but who cares? The girl's got her own rhythm game after all. Back at Chaldea, Sherlock appears and explains that Baal was only one of 4 demon gods who managed to escape the battle at Solomon's Temple of Time. He's gonna stick around to help us out with those gods, but before that, we're going to have to deal with a certain promiscuous beast woman. That's sure to get crazy, so I hope you look forward to it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy this channel, help me beat the algorithm by liking, commenting, and sharing the video, subscribing to Otaku Daikun, and, most of all, smashing that notification bell so you don't miss out on all of my anime discussion, lore, or Let's Play content. If you want to support me directly, there are now 3 ways that all provide the same benefits. You can click join here on YouTube, or join Patreon or Subscribestar for access to exclusive vids and early access. As always, celebrate your fandom.